everyone, welcome with Fun with Art, Making Fun with Art with Jeanne B. And I'm Jeanne B. Now, what we're going to do today is something very simple. You've been seeing that on all the social media. It's all about these cups and the teapots and all the different things that you can balance. Now, I brought an array of different ones here with me now so you could see how high you can actually go. The ones I didn't bring were at least 3 feet tall, 4 feet tall, and I have those. They're all made the same simple way. So let's simplify this so you get to understand what it's actually doing. For instance, this is being balanced, right? And so this is being balanced. This is being balanced. And it depends on the height in which you want to balance it. But they're all made the same exact way, from the tiniest one up front to the tallest one I have on the table. And the ones I have at home are 3 and 4 feet high. My granddaughter, who had just turned 3, her birthday party was strawberries. And so her mom said, you know, could you make her a tower with the teapots and the cups, all of strawberries? So, of course I did, right? It turned out it came out to 4 feet high. Had her name engraved on it, and it was all strawberry teapots that were balanced all basically the same way I'm going to show you. And it's fun to do it because, let's face it, who doesn't need balance in their life, right? I mean, we balance little things, we can balance big things. And it's all how we do it allows us to feel that softness inside, that need that we have done something and achieved a goal. We balance something. And sometimes that's not easy to do in life. So let's start. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a teacup because I think that's the easiest way to show you. All right. What I start with is these I found when I was researching how to do these this past winter. Everybody was doing them with forks. It works with forks if you can bend them. I have very bad arthritis in my hands, and so for me, the forks didn't work. My brother, bless his heart, said, hey, get a little one of those blowtorch things, heat up the metal and try it that way. The fork gets very hot, and I still couldn't bend it. So I was in the store one day, and I found these. These are actually called, they were called taco tongs in the store, but I later found them on Amazon. And you can buy all sizes. You can buy tiny ones. You can buy bigger ones. And then there is another size that they're same style, but they're even smaller. So I take one of these, and I see how easily it bends. For me, that is just practical. When I'm doing one of the little tiny, tiny ones, because I have some that are even smaller than this, they're like the little miniature teapots and those type of things, I'll keep bending, and of course the metal starts to get soft. And then I just take pliers and just keep doing it, and it snaps off. And then I'll just use 1/2 of these to make it work. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to take one of these things. I'm not sure what you call them. They're little pincher things. And I'm just going to take this end and watch. See how easily this bends, right? I can bend it as much as I want. I can extend it outwards if I need to, depending on the circumference of the cup. And then I'm going to take this part, and now I'm going to start to measure. I want to put my little teapot, this right here, pouring into the cup. Do I want it that high? Be kind of silly looking. So what I then go and do is just adjust this. And what I'll have to do is, because this teapot is kind of low, is get this ending and just curl it under and curl it under and curl it under till, see? So it almost is like that. Now that would make perfect sense to fit into the teapot, correct? Now, once I get that in there, and I get it to fit in there, the size I want, now this end needs to bend, because I need to put it on something, so I just bend it over. So now I have this, it almost looks like a musical note. Wouldn't that be cool? We could all be musical notes today. Just to think of that idea. And it goes in like that. Now this is going to be the hardest part for anybody to do. And I want you to pay attention. Is this, this is monster tape. You can get all kinds of brands, whatever you want. It's double-sided sticky tape. And I'm going to cut it. This is actually a Gorilla one. I've even bought the generic on Amazon, and it works just as well. I bought Walmart brand. That works just as well. So long as it's double-sided, it's okay. The hardest thing we're ever going to do with this is getting the plastic covering off, because I'm on camera, and of course it's going to take me forever to do it, right? Of course it will. And I can't use my teeth because that would be kind of really rude to do. So see, this is what I'm trying to do. I was just trying to pull off the backing. Once I pulled off the backing, I then take my musical note, oops, and then I'm going to just put my this on the underside of the note and just stretch it all the way up as much as I can to that top piece like that. Does that make sense to everybody? Then I'm going to just flip it over, and I'm going to place it exactly where I want the teapot to actually come into the cup. So I'm just going to place it like this and stick it down as best I can. All right. And see, it holds in there. It's not going anywhere. Now, for me, because I like to do this, you don't have to do it unless you find that it's not staying. I usually have a hot glue gun ready all the time. I didn't plug mine in because it would have been too difficult here at the studio to have a hot glue gun running around with. And what I'll do is I'll take the hot glue, and right where the cup meets the dish and the metal piece, I'll put some hot glue in there, just so that it's firmer. The only problem with it is sometimes this sticky stuff doesn't allow the glue to adhere to it. So you have to press it for a little bit and make it really stick. Otherwise, it works fine. And then I might just put a little bit of glue inside, just to secure for my own personal reasons. So now we've got that all straight. Each one of these was done basically the same way. Before we continue with this, I'm also going to show you another way to do it. I found, well, maybe I'll wait. Let's finish this one, and then I'll show you how to do to add to another one. Now we're going to do the teacup. And I should have taken the price tags off, but you know what? Sometimes it just doesn't balance that way. And we want to put the teacup here. Okay. So this is where we have to figure out the weight. If I have this teacup is very, very light, and I have this teapot that is maybe a little bit heavier, we're going to try it. And it might not balance. So it might tip over, but we have ways to fix that. No worries. So I'm just going to push this up because I kind of like my teapots pouring in. I don't like them just sitting up there in the world again. Again, with my great tape, but this time I already had it prepared. So I wouldn't waste your time. And I just cut a little piece of the tape. And now I'm going to put it on this side, right here. And I'm just going to stick it over that. Pretty cool, huh? All right, so now it's on there. And I'm going to stick my teapot. Voila. But if I let go of this end, guess what happens? It falls over. So what am I going to do? We have to have a weight to balance it. Now, I found this out just by magic alone. But rocks and stones seem to work for perfect balance to balance that out, because you can take some out, move some, it doesn't matter, you have them in your yard. But I also found this like little gravel, and I was buying these little tiny bags like in the dollar store, and then I walked into one of the major stores, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I was in the pet department because I have animals, and I saw that in the fish department, they sell big bags of this stuff, the gravel that goes in the aquariums. And it's a lot cheaper than buying little tiny bags of it. So if you're going to make a lot of these, invest in a bigger bag, because trust me, it comes in handy. So now, how do I know how many? I don't have a scale, and I'm not going to use one. I don't use one physically, and I'm not going to use one on this either. So I'm just going to go like this. And when it doesn't move, then I know it's balanced out. Now, isn't that funny how in life we can do the same thing? We start playing with things, right? And we start doing stuff, and then all of a sudden we're like, oh, look at that. It's weighing my options, and I did pretty good with this, and it's working. So let's keep it going, right? So now that I've done that, we can't just leave it like that. I have found, whoops, oh, don't go away. I have found this wonderful soft foamy stuff. The florists use it all over the place. The cheapest place to buy this would be your local dollar store, because you get like a pack like this for $1.25. The other stores all have it if you don't have any way of going to a dollar store or however, but trust me, it works. Get yourself a little tiny knife, and then you just kind of cut. I'm going to do this down, because if I do it in the air, you know what's going to happen. I'll end up poking my eyeballs out, and that wouldn't be good. I'm going to tell you a little funny story about this stuff. I do a lot of these. As a matter of fact, I have 50 of them already, because I'm also a writer. And I have 50 pictures of each of the ones that I've made so far, and they all have a saying that goes with them. And they're going to be put into cards. And so it'll be something kind of cool, just to kind of do and have. So, like I said, I work a lot with this foam. I work a lot with the greenery I'm going to show you afterwards. And not realizing it, I'm always barefoot at home, always. Winter, summer, spring, fall, it doesn't matter. I don't wear socks. But I noticed that I went to to go feed the animals outside, and I noticed that there was like this green stuff all over my kitchen floor, and I'm like, what the heck is this stuff? I cleaned it up and didn't think much of it, and then I had one of those little mats near the kitchen sink, and I go over to that, and I'm like, God, there's this green stuff. Where the heck is this coming from? I have no clue. So, make a long story short, I go back into my craft room, and I'm working, and I didn't think of anything. And then I went up, of course, took a shower, got ready for the evening, whatever. And I noticed that my bathroom was full of green stuff again. Well, I went downstairs, not realizing all this green had gotten into the wood of my floor in my craft room. So I was basically saturated, walking around with green feet all over my house. So it was kind of funny. You had to be there. So now this is my green foam. I can use my glue gun, if I choose, and put some here and stick it on if I want to. But because this is looped, all I have to do is take it and kind of stuff it in there like that. So it kind of holds itself down as much as I want it to. And then I just am going to fit the other green pieces around it. And it kind of unless you're going to tip this upside down, you really don't have to glue it. But if you choose to, because some people, that's what they like to do, it's fine. There's no rules against what to do and what not to do. You just do it. That's the idea of having fun with it, right? You don't have to do it my way, but I'm just giving you ideas, and this way you can take it. Because when I researched all this, I didn't do it the way they showed me. I did it the way it was comfortable for me. I enjoyed doing it. It was a lot of fun. And let me tell you, I hit the stores and bought every teapot, every cup that you could possibly ever want. And I made them. All kinds, from dogs to cats, to rats, everything is there. So now that I have this ready, what is the theme of it for me? Okay, that's always a big thing for me is whenever I create art, I always have to create it with some kind of feel to it. Otherwise, it's just making something. And that's the fun part. It's because what is this cup? When I look at the cup, it's full of butterflies. So what do the butterflies have a meaning for me? Right? You know, butterflies are all about transformation. They're all about birthing new ideas, new life, right? And this springtime, you know, the butterfly goes through this tremendous metamorphosis in its cocoon, and then it emerges, right, into this glorious butterfly. So, you know, I want my cup. I want this to be exploited like that. I want it to feel when somebody looks at it and says, hey, that is really cute. And they get a good feeling. So for me, art is all about feeling it as well. So what I would normally do at this point is I would glue this, my cup, onto there. But like I said, I didn't bother plugging in my glue gun, and we're okay with it. So what I'm going to do now is I have to decide what am I going to do with it? So I usually have some kind of green. Now I could put green, or we could put pink, right? It's up to you what you decide, how you want to create at this point. I'm just going to put a little bit of green in it because I think that shows up better on the camera. And what I normally do is I'll put it in, and I like to squish it in there. Like I'll put glue underneath here, and I'll squish it on. If you don't like to work with a glue gun, some people, you know, they're afraid they burn their fingers. I don't think I have any more fingerprints because I think I burnt them off with the glue gun so many times. And, you know, whatever, that's how it is. But what you can do is you can actually use Elmer's glue if you'd like, or a clear glue. And it just takes longer to dry. That's why I use the glue gun, because it's easy and it's fast. And what I'll do is then I'll just put it on there and I'll just stick it on there, right? And I make it stay as best I can. The next thing I do is, though, if you want this metal piece showing, by all means, keep it. For me, that bothers me. I like things to be cohesive. I like them to flow naturally. So a lot of times I will get sometimes I'll use a ribbon, sometimes I'll use a flower, and I'll just wrap it around the stem. Or sometimes I'll just take some of the same greenery and stick it on there and use a hot glue gun and glue it all the way up. So now that's my basis for my cup. And from here, I can then take it to the next level and then decide, do I want flowers in it? Do I want stones in it? Do I want just butterflies? However you want to decorate it. That's a pretty simple thing I think you all know and can do for yourself. What I want to show you is now other ways that you can use different things. For instance, see how lightweight this pail is? I mean, these are really lightweight. If I went to, you know how many rocks I would have to fill this up with? So you wouldn't be able to get anything in there to be creative with. So I found other ways of doing things with this. Like for instance, I take those little pieces of wood, and what I'll do is I'll counterbalance it because the wood is not going to make any weight to this. So what I'll do is I'll take my tape or a hot glue gun and maybe just put the piece of wood here so I have something to balance this on with, if that makes sense. So that's one way you get around with having to put a dozen or a whole bag of little rocks in here, because then you won't be able to decorate it. So you can use actually a piece of wood. That you can buy these at any craft store. It's not a big deal. And you can just, what you do is just hot glue it on there. That's all you do. Let it set. Give it a minute or two. Then hot glue underneath here, and then set it on. And you're good to go. So it's an easy way to balance it off. And you don't have to worry about too many rocks in the pail. Okay? The other thing I did with this one, I also do resin work. So I poured resin, and I did do resin. I have 2 bathtubs that I did it with. One I did resin with, and that one dried, of course, very easily. The other one I thought I was going to be really slick and really smart, and I was just going to use clear Elmer's glue, And then towards the end, as it starts to thicken, you just get a straw and you blow on it and it makes like ripples and bubbles. Well, after week 2 and it still wasn't fully dried, I gave up. And I ended up using that again with resin. So there are different methods and different techniques to give you different ideas so that way you can explore and have fun with it, right? So now the other thing I want to show you was how to actually do a teapot. Now this teapot is pretty big and it's pretty heavy. And yes, we could do it exactly the same way as I just showed you with that. It would work. There would be no problem because it's got a kind of, the cup has got a good solid weight to it. But I wanted to show you something, a different way of doing it as well. And I found that these are just simple candle holders. And I can take these, I found these at the dollar store. I don't know what I bought them for, but obviously it works. And I can take this and I can balance it with this. So there's another unique way to balance things. And then in the middle here, right, then I can put my floral arrangement. I can, design something however I want. If I want to do it this way, I can also take these slices of wood. Are unique. I bought them, I forgot at what craft store, but they're all different sizes and they're angled. So that way I can now take this piece of wood and suppose I don't want to use one of these things, right? And I can just put my piece of wood here on the end of the holder and here, and I can either glue it down, and then I can take my teapot, because maybe I don't want it that high. Those sometimes are high, people don't want them. And I can just take it like that, right? And it will hold the teapot in place, so it's a smaller version of what I was doing earlier. And then of course you'd have to put a counterweight in here as well, because otherwise it's going to flip right over. So there are many ways of doing this. I hope that each and every one of you will try one way at least. They're fun. They're even fun for your children to do as well. I mean, you don't have to do teapots. You can do the little tubs, the sprinklers. I actually got wires, because I like to make things realistic. And I just got some wires and I got beading and I beaded it up, and then I just stuck them in here in the little holes so that way it looked like water was pouring out. So having fun is just being unique, right? And trying different things. If it didn't work, did you know that I did that? Heck no. Was I going to tell you? No. So, but I did tell you because it did work. So there's so many things I've tried that didn't work, and they just never made it to the shelf. So it's okay. The other thing is with these little teapots here, they're very plain. And one of them, what I did was I like to decoupage, with the little napkins and stuff. So what I did was I decoupaged one of them to make it match the teacup. Another one, I painted it to match the teacup. So there are many different ways that you can take these ideas and make them your own and have fun with them. So I hope that was helpful for you. I hope that you will leave a good review. Actually, you are now looking at, this is my first show here. And so hopefully I will be back next month and we'll figure out something else fun to do. So remember, this is Fun Making Art Fun with Jeanne B. You have a wonderful and great day, and we'll see you all soon. Thank you. Bye.